Hey peeps, Sir Bradley here. We here at Deadpan Studio are presenting a show called B.S.F. And we would like to take the time to inform our audience that you will most definitely hear vulgarities such as balls, motherfucker, jack, and whore, and possibly some stories of anal leakage. So please enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 555 of the B.S.F. podcast.
You forgot 2 5s.
I didn't want to say it 5 times because that's a fact.
All right, whatever.
Welcome to B.S.F., where the F stands for facts.
The
and
BS stands for, well, you'll figure it out.
Exactly.
I'm about to talk bullshit.
Exactly. Today we've got a 2-part episode, not as in 2 episodes, but we've got 2 segments. The first one is we are going to be interviewing one of my favorite people in the world, Mr. Jordan Schmidt, who also happens to be my eldest nephew.
Yay!
Yeah! I am, of course, one of your hosts, the Matt.
Sir Bradley.
And I'm Kat.
And Jordan, if you'd like to introduce yourself, go right ahead.
Hello, my name is Jordan Schmidt.
Awesome. Now, so
Very formal, I know.
like I mentioned, this is going to be a 2-part episode. The first part is going to be an interview with him and the things that he does in his life, because I do find both aspects very interesting, and I'm not just being biased. I honestly do find that to be interesting. And I forgot to turn my phone off.
Yeah, good job, Matthew.
And I just reminded Brad that he needed to do his too. So
Actually,
Okay,
I was
Brad,
just
turn your phone
double-checking.
off.
Mine was already on.
hey, at least
The vibrator.
I am recording. So
I'm already starting to notice where the BS is.
Don't worry.
It didn't take you long, did it?
he's a quick learner.
Don't worry. I got my Fs.
Yeah.
Both kinds.
And the second part of the show, in which Jordan will be joining us in, is a discussion about sibling rivalries, and we'll get into that here
Which
shortly.
you totally can't tell from the title of this episode, but you know.
Right.
The name of the episode could actually change before we release it. Who knows?
It's very true.
But why?
2 days is going to be the day.
Yeah.
They turn it back to you.
All right. And, of course, as always, if you would like to reach us, we have different ways in which you can do that. You can reach us at our emails, deadpanbsf@gmail.com, also deadpanstudio18@gmail.com, as well as our website, deadpan-studio.com.
Really? Really? You couldn't do the fucking reach around joke?
No, that was last week.
No.
You can't do it all the time. Then you get used to it, and it's
And
not
it's
as
not
enjoyable.
a novelty anymore.
You can also
Novelties.
putting his nose in it.
I put my nose in it every time.
We also have different ways in which you can listen to us. We have iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, as well as our main server, deadpanstudio.podbean.com. If you go to any one of those, as well as the website, you can download the episodes, you can stream them, and if you actually go to our website, you can learn a little bit about us, as well as send us emails. Isn't that exciting?
It's so exciting. I can't hardly.
I'm really wet right now.
We also have Twitters and Facebooks. We have Deadpan Studio 18 for Facebook and Twitter. Woohoo! It's always a mouthful every single week. But I'm getting better at it.
What happened to our .com?
I don't know. That went out with AOL, I guess.
Hey, well, that's a
Doing that
callback.
for a while.
I know, right?
.com.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so
Please excuse the paper rustling. I'm having to turn my.
there's going to be
Oh, there's going to be a
I mean, that's the rustling.
paper turning. Fuck.
Oh,
Goddamn.
He had a
I
thought.
have no idea where
Goddamn
you were.
fucking fart.
And it's
Fucking
gone.
brain fart.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, check this out,
exactly.
audience. We
I
all
could see it leaving
The
your
thought
brain.
bubble that left me.
I was there and it popped.
check this out, audience. We actually did a bunch of research for
A
our
fuck
topics.
ton.
Yeah.
A fuck ton.
Yeah. So
My hand fucking hurts from writing.
that's not what it hurts from. You know better.
I will.
Yep.
Audience doesn't need to know, Matthew.
Oh, they need to know everything.
No, they don't.
Okay, so
Well, if Kat wants to know, sure,
No.
I can
I've
go
never
into detail.
I've never,
No, that's not.
Never been interested.
I'll put our first censor in.
You mean just shut it down?
Yeah. All right. So, Jordan, if you will allow, I do have some questions about two different aspects of your life.
Yeah, fire away. I'm an open book.
So,
Don't machine gun it now.
no, I won't. Jordan is a musician as well as a photographer, and you are based out of where, Jordan?
Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah.
Chicago.
Cubs are awesome, man. I'll tell you what. Let's see
I'll
here.
not talk about baseball on this podcast.
Good.
Oh, no.
I don't care.
All right, Jordan. I do
Chop
have
on.
some questions. The first one, between music and photography, which one would you say is your passion?
Oh, that's a tough question.
Dude,
I've been
that's
doing them
close.
both for so long. They just kind of like intertwine with each other. I mean, from like a professional aspect, photography all the way. I get to work with people constantly. It's, you get working and learning about someone as you do it is a great thing about photography. But also music, there's just, I don't know, there's something when you play in front of somebody, there's a high you just never get from anything else.
I get that.
And you just live off of that.
It's something that Alan has talked about on a numerous occasions.
Yeah,
that
and I get that
actor's
too. As being on
Yeah.
stage when the audience reacts to you, the high you get, that just makes you want. We always say backstage, when the audience is a good audience, when they interact with you, they actually make noise, good or bad. It gives you energy, and it feels so good.
Well, it's
It really does.
It's hard to read their enjoyment if they just sit there.
Yeah,
There's like that fucking cocaine.
Coquina.
Okay.
I don't know. Just sometimes the act of playing is just great too. It's just you're showing something to the world that the world may not ever see. So you just kind of live off of that too.
What originally got you interested in photography?
Oh man, I had a camera when I was younger, and I mean, it's I don't know. You could say it's kind of like a legacy because came to find out later on that like my dad did that too. My mom pushed me on that as well, but it was I don't know. It was something that just kind of clicked. One time, it's like, this is what I want to do. This is what I like.
That's a good pun.
Yeah,
Photography, and it just clicked.
yeah,
Oh, it's going to happen more and more. I apologize ahead of time.
yeah. I think we're going to end up getting a good, clear
Oh, yeah.
picture of who he is.
Oh yeah.
Oh, my rim shot, my iPad.
Oh.
That's because you
Yeah.
always let it go dark.
Oh,
It's a,
Wah, wah,
My brain likes to stay in the dark
wah.
place. Do you remember your first paid photography job?
oh, God. It was a headshot shoot, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it was a theater headshot shoot, and I mean, I was nervous as hell. I used to do it, like, preferring to build up, like, a portfolio,
Right.
but it was just, like, the first time when it's, like, on the line, like, you have to make sure they're paying you. And, I mean, they take a special thing that you just have to sit down, you have to talk with them, you have to learn about them. It's not like just you click a photo of them. You're learning who they are so you can bring that out any photograph. And that can be terrifying at times.
That seems
Because
more
you not even
enjoyable
find
than being
that
an
that person
extra.
is.
It does. It seems more enjoyable than being an extra in film or TV. Because, I mean, you sort of get to do the same thing, but you don't really get to know, who you're working with that well.
You're just getting the tip.
You're acting like that's a bad thing, Brad.
Nice.
Hey, the tip's better than nothing. Yeah, the tip's better than nothing.
So, of course, I know that you were hired onto the George Street Photo and Video. Tell us a little bit about the company and what you currently do with it.
Well, currently right now I am a wedding photography coordinator, so I work with brides trying to figure out their whole day, because like it's just, it can be a mess, it can be chaos, especially when it comes to wedding photography, and they're working between different types of people, and I'm just guiding them along the way, reassuring, making sure that they're okay through all of that. And they can be a complete wreck at times, but I feel like I can really help out at times. It's a really nice feeling.
Yeah, I'm sure that's better than where we were, where you used to live in Kentucky, when you could literally go to a shotgun wedding.
I mean, that's very true. And since I used to be a wedding photographer for quite a while, it's a different departure, but it's a nice view on the inside of what really it takes for them to do that, rather than, hey, I'm showing up to shoot this. Hey, I have this whole shot list. I've worked with you for like maybe 2 weeks.
What is your favorite type of composition to photograph?
I tend to like either there's a like stuff going on in the foreground and the background, so it kind of tells a story. So if I can compose a photograph that is telling a story and has a bit of a theme to it, that is the best thing for me. Either that or a very minimalistic with a ton of negative space. But that's just like, I don't know, that's more the art photographer person in me, rather than just like, hey, this is a great photo. It's like, look at how it connects.
Yeah. That sounds really cool.
What is your fondest memory from photography?
Thus far.
Fondest memory? It was actually when I was working on a photo story, because I went to school for photojournalism. I interned at, newspapers, and I don't know, I think it was my first news story I was doing and covering, and it was about just how wives handle when their husbands deploy, like military-wise.
Yeah.
And just covering that, seeing how they handle it, how like the back and forth, how it could be straining on the relationship, and just how they handle life in general without it. And it's just like, it was very moving just to see. And there's me just being a fly on their wall, just seeing how it goes, and not being able to do something, but watching the strain on what it does. It just really does something to you.
Yeah, that's reminds me of looking at those old photo books, and I say photo book, I mean literally photo books of those old wartime photographers, where they would they started that in Vietnam, I believe, and that was the first time that any sort of media got a first-hand look at that type of thing, and just the horror of it that was caught, and also some of the inspirational aspects of it too.
I mean, that's very true. It's how like a lot of them really like formed too, because you really think about it, a lot of those war photographers, they came out of like World War II and Vietnam.
Oh, I was wrong.
And
yeah,
like it goes back, like the whole thing is a huge. I mean, there was during the whole Depression period where there's just like showing how the Depression hits while war is going on.
Right.
And you had like Nick Ut during Vietnam, which is very famous for like the girl that's on fire, and and that's from the napalm flames, and just I don't know. Photographs can really change how you view things. It can change how a war is viewed. That one in particular is how Vietnam was viewed after that.
Switching gears real quick, what type of equipment do you use?
Okay, well, if we're talking about like photography, or are we talking about music-wise? Because those can be very different.
Yeah, it's going to go right over my head.
Yeah, I've got a whole other page for music. So we're doing. What about photography?
Okay, photography. If we're talking actual digital, then it's like my Canon 60D, and that's with all kinds of lenses coming along with it, like a 35 millimeter wide. We're talking about like a my macro when it comes to something like product photography. Depends on what I'm doing is what I'm using, but I try to be a little bit versatile on it.
Yeah.
But I tend to stick with my 60D to do most of that. I do love a lot of my film cameras.
Right. Well, there's. I remember when I took photography back in high school. Now that was ages ago. I'm an old man. I remember doing film photography for the first time and going into a room, a black. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. What do you call those?
Dark room.
Dark room. Yes. Kept wanting to say black room.
That sounds racist.
So does dark room.
It's a dark room.
Yeah. So going into a dark room and just seeing the picture you took and physically having it come out on that from film, it's just there's nothing like it. I guess the modern photographers today, a lot of them still do film because it's such a great medium.
I mean, that is very true. Well, also with film, you have to take your time with it. That's kind of the big thing about it, because you can't snap off 1,000 photos. You're not checking it every 5 seconds.
Right.
You have to take your time, compose the shot, and honestly, in my opinion, is the better way of going about it. I recommend most people, if they really want to learn photography, do film first. You'll learn the greatest aspects of it, then you move on to digital, and then you get even better.
Yeah, because see, to me that shows the perfect example of quality over quantity.
I 100% agree on that.
So, where can we go to see samples of your work?
Well, there's a couple places. Actually, there's my website, jortography.com, which JORTOGRAPHY.com. I like puns. That's who I am.
Yes. Awesome.
And then you can find me on Instagram under the same name, and also the same name on 500px, which is a very big photography site as well. So if you're wanting to check me out, those are like 3 great ways to do about it. I'm always posting stuff on Twitter as well.
Now, I remember you took photographs. You were there when the Chicago Cubs won the World Series.
Yes, actually. That is actually a project that I have on my site. That is, it's a particular one that I was working on. And so if anyone wants to check it out, it's still on there. It's being formed into a book for that eventually.
Very cool.
But I'm just waiting to see how people, how much of a reaction they want out of that.
I've seen a lot of those photos. And,
I'll have to check that out. I mean, I'm
really
a huge
cool.
baseball fan. So.
It's really cool. All right, so if you don't mind, we're going to transition into music, and I'll actually use the transition button for that. Woo! Here we go. And I thought it was fitting because that was music. All right, so
we're professionals here.
Yeah, Sir Bradley mentioned this right before we hit record. But it's actually the first question is, what do you consider your genre of music?
I am more of a singer-songwriter genre. I know that's a very all-encompassing, but when it comes to the different songs I write, it depends which one I'm writing. Some of them are very bluesy. Some of them have little pop aspects to it. Some of them are a little bit more alt to it, but they all still form into more of a singer-songwriter kind of feel to it.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Some of it's even slightly folksy when I'm feeling it.
Now, Sir Bradley's a little excited about this because he's a musician. He used to play in a band.
I think that we'll use that term very loosely.
Well, you're more of a musician than I am. So,
I play rhythm guitar.
So, some of the greats are rhythm guitar players. I mean,
this
Paul
is true.
Stanley. I know you hate that. I know you do.
Fucking prick.
Wow, tell us how you really feel here.
Well, anyway, no.
Now, right now, you're not in a band or anything, right?
No, I'm actually doing solo stuff right now, but I was part of quite a few bands, and I don't want to say in my days because I'm not that old, but back in those days I was in quite a few of them.
I'm older, so.
Well, nephew.
He's only 4 years younger than me, right?
Yeah, I know that.
probably
Now
like
figure that out.
Yeah.
Your oldest sister was grown by the time you were a kid.
My younger sister is younger than he is. So,
Yeah.
do you prefer playing in a solo act, or do you prefer playing in a group?
You know, that's more of a complicated question than you would think, because...
That's why I ask them.
We asked the tough question here.
Oh, yeah. No, because
Great.
as a solo artist, you get to work with a lot of the things you've always wanted to experiment with. You get to play with melodies that you've always wanted to try. You're forming songs. But on the other hand, it is so much harder sometimes on your own rather than when you work with other people, because they're adding in little bits. It's more of a collaboration that you're working on.
Right.
And you're also not having to focus on those aspects. Like, I'm not having to focus on the drumming at that point. I'm not having to focus on putting the bass parts into it or anything like that. Or sometimes I'm not even having to focus on the vocals. I could just play guitar and just focus on that, and that is great. But there's also the personality conflicts that come with being in a band, and sometimes you don't get along, as we learned in like bands like Oasis, where they literally right now hate each other to death.
How familiar is he with what's going to be talked about later?
Nothing. No, well, I mean, he did his own research for the general
Oh,
idea,
okay.
so he could participate in this. But
I was going to say that you sound.
I have not told him about any of our actual focuses for it. So
You sound a whole lot like someone that I was researching in what you were talking about. So we'll leave that. Some of our listeners probably know. They've maybe seen a post or two from me. But yeah, some people know what I'm going to talk about. Some people don't. And yeah.
Well, I can definitely say I don't. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. Yeah. But, you know, if it is what I think you're talking about, it's very well known, and I think we all have some opinions on it, and it's a little crazy.
So how long have you been playing music?
I have been playing music since I was 15, so that is 17 years. Almost 18 now.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah. Now, of course, you know, a lot of these questions I already know the answers to, so yeah, bear with me if it seems like I'm, you know, to you, Jordan, if it seems like, well, duh.
Oh, no, we're talking to a world here. They don't know this. This is great to be able to share.
Now, were you self-taught, or did you take lessons, or was it a combination of both?
It's a little bit of a combination of both. I started out with lessons, and that didn't go well. Not because, like, they didn't teach well, it just didn't get along with that aspect. We also couldn't show up to lessons constantly. It taught me the basics, but it didn't teach me to, like, love music or guitar.
Right.
It taught me how to play.
What is your favorite instrument to play specifically? Now, if it's like guitar, which type of guitar?
Oh, like, let me think. Because I actually play quite a few instruments.
Right.
I play, like, piano, I play guitar, I play bass, violin at one point, but that's long and dead now. But, like, I do like playing guitar a lot. I love piano, but I never get around to being able to be around that. And a keyboard is just not the same at times. Mm-hmm. But I do enjoy playing guitar. I have, like, when I'm playing, like, something a little bit more electric, I love playing my Ibanez. It gets that deep kind of growl to it when I need it.
That's a good rock/metal guitar right there.
It's lovely. And I used to play in metal bands and alt-rock bands, so it's a little bit of departure from what I'm doing now.
I'd love to have a Taylor acoustic and then a Rickenbacker.
Oh, Taylors have such a great... Oh, God, the melody on those things.
I would like to have one of... because, of course, I don't play, but I do
Hey,
love
Taylor,
guitars.
send me a... Send me something.
I would
here.
love to have an Ibanez that is specifically Nita Strauss's brand.
Oh, those nice little round backs.
Yeah.
They're very peculiar guitar. I like them, but
they have such a full sound.
It's very warm, too. Yes. I mean, you can tell me I'm wrong, but...
Yeah.
No, that's how we like them. We like them warm.
Do you like writing and playing privately, or do you prefer playing live?
You know what? I actually really do enjoy playing live. I'm actually playing live Saturday, so I'll be doing that in front of people, and that's going to be great. I love learning and playing different songs, like I'm experimenting with or wanting to, like, try to write by myself. I prefer that while I'm, you know, figuring out the kinks, but if it's playing, definitely live.
And now, of course, you said Saturday. Tonight is Thursday. So when this episode releases on Monday, you audience members are losers and had to miss the show.
Sorry to say, that's just how it happens.
That's just how it happens.
But if they keep track on, I post when I'm going to play way ahead of time. So, as we follow along, how to catch up on me on that, I do post ahead for people to find me.
What is your writing process like?
It's changed over the years. It used to be I would write the lyrics out and kind of form music around it. Mm-hmm. But as I play and as I learn, the more it just becomes, I find a chord that I really like using, and then I start forming something right around it. I'll then get an idea of like something I'm trying to talk about or something that I'm just trying to figure out with myself, which sounds very stereotypical, but like a lot of the processes are the same. My favorite is me staring at a window for a little bit and figuring out what I want to do and not do anything else, and then all of a sudden it just pops in like, oh, hey, that's a great idea.
Brad does the same thing, but he's actually actively staring into a window. Sorry, man. I'm just kidding.
I love you too.
Oh, his feelings are hurt.
Oh, no.
Feelings? What the fuck are those?
What feelings? He has none.
All right, so the next two questions, they sound similar, but they're different. First one is, what is your favorite song that you yourself have written so far?
Oh, actually would be a song called Endless. It's up right now. It still needs to go through some mixing and everything else, but it's a song I actually kind of wrote for my wife. It's
she's a cool. Hey, love you, Laura.
Love you, Laura.
It does not sound like it at all. Trust me, like it does not sound like it at all. You'd be like, wait, what? Oh no! And then as the chorus finally hits, like it's like a great payoff on it, and it's how I feel.
All right. The second question is, what is your favorite song to play? And that's any of it.
Oh,
not just what you wrote, but any of them.
Oh man, that's probably going to be the song "Ain't No Sunshine."
Ah, nice. I have that on my phone. Buddy Guy.
Yeah, it's gonna. There's a lot of different versions of it, but it's a great song.
Yeah, my favorite so far is the Buddy Guy version. I love it.
I mean, I fall more along with the Bill Withers version just because you can feel feel some of that like more torn emotion as you can hear it, like how it feels to just where someone
Buddy
just
Guy has
gone.
more soul, but Bill Withers, I don't know, you get more of that angst.
I think you know what mine is.
Yeah, I think so. All right, so where can people find your music?
I can be found on a couple places. Right now I can be found on SoundCloud, which will be under the same name that you can find my photography, which is soundcloud.com/dortography. Might as well stick with the name underneath everything. You can also find me at Bandcamp, like if you're wanting to get a few downloads to take for yourself for free, because I have 2 songs up there right now for free if you want to download them. And that'll also be under bandcamp.com/dortography1.
This Jesus one time Christ, at Bandcamp.
It was hard.
That's where the name came from.
This one time at Bandcamp.
All right, so you have agreed to play a song for us. Now, which song are you going to be playing today?
Actually, this is a song that's not been released out on...
It's Chicago. You got to go with Sirens.
Oh, it's got to happen. I can't even help it. It's one of those things like, oh, well, Chicago. Doesn't happen as often as you would think. You hear more of an ambulance more often?
That just means our podcast is becoming cultured.
Yeah, so cultured.
But
so we're lucky enough to hear this before anybody else.
Yeah,
It's been played live a couple times, but it's not actually been recorded. So this could be the first time it's been full on recorded.
We're a fucking recording studio, baby.
Well, I tell you what, if you want to prepare yourself, I'm going to turn our mics off, but I'm going to hit our transition music just so you can be ready. So take your time. I can always cut out the silence in post. So, all right, I'm going to turn our mics off, and you get started whenever you're ready.
All right, sounds great. I'm going to probably play a little snippet of it so you guys can get a little bit of a taste. So when it does get released, go check it out. All right, this song is called Falls Apart. Just kiss me one last time, 'cause I can see from the old ghosts that live inside your eye. So close your eyes and come and lay by my side, 'cause I can see from the daylight. Oh, love of mine, have we ever gotten this way? Was it the loves or the decisions that we made? So go ahead and close your eye and come and lay by my side, 'cause I can see from the daylight. I'm almost out of time in your ways. Oh God, it weighs so damn heavy on me, and I know that some things, they just fall apart. And the water's rushing in, and I can't say this sinking ship, and all I can do is watch you. It's slowly slip away. Slowly slipping, slowly slipping. And it weighs on me. Oh, it weighs so heavy, so damn heavy on me. And I know that some things, they just fall apart, just like a love.
Awesome. That sounded great.
Yeah, it's people like you that I fucking hate, man. Got me all wet.
This is still too early.
Singing straight to my heart.
Look, he skipped dinner. Now he's just going into the serenade.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, please check out his SoundCloud page. Please check out anywhere that you can hear him. Go see him live.
Drop D?
Yeah. No, not at all. Actually,
Really?
that is a half step down.
Oh, not a full step. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right.
I tend to play a lot of my stuff on that. I do have a song that is in drop D that's Fire Meets Ice, if anyone wants to hear that. It's a very it's melodic but very bassy. It's rather nice. I like it.
Very cool. And you're playing on your Elvis guitar, aren't you?
I am playing on an Epiphone EJ200.
Oh,
You were
wow.
wrong.
Yeah, you were wrong.
Wow.
All around, Matthew. All around.
Also famously known as the guitar that Elvis played.
Yeah.
So,
I was right.
Ah, shit. He's wrong about the drop D shit.
Wait,
I was
said
just
drop
waiting
D,
for that
and I
to
was
go
like,
all the
oh,
way
maybe.
through so I could just let Brad know that he was wrong.
good job.
You were right and wrong.
That's right.
Some of my favorite things.
I'll take it. I round up. All right. So, we're going to take a very quick break, and we'll be right back with our second main topic. Be right back.
Hello, and we are back. Although for you, it was only like 1 second.
Half second, yeah.
Half a second. However long that stinger was.
It was so long. They had me trapped here.
Oh my God, you're held hostage in Chicago.
We want all the money.
Okay. Now we're getting into our second topic, which may or may not be the name of this episode. But I wrote a little thing. So here we go. Cain and Abel, Mary and Anne Boleyn, Olivia and Joan Fontaine, the Andrews sisters, Sherlock and Mycroft Holmes, Puma and Adidas. Now, what do any of these names have to do with each other? Some I just mentioned are historical figures, some are famous actors or singers, some are fictional, and some are shoe/clothing brands. But the thing they all have in common is rivalries, sibling rivalries to be exact. To help further explain this and tell about his favorite rivalry, or at least one of them, is Sir Bradley, but first...
Today is gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you. By now you should have somehow realized what you gotta do. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now.
Yeah, for those of you that do not know who the fuck that was it was an English rock band called Oasis. Already been brought up once tonight, accidentally.
that was
Good
funny.
job, Jordan.
Yes, and I'm assuming that's who you had in mind. That's who you thought.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And now they're the lead singers of Noah Gallagher's High Flying Circus and BDI now because they can't stand each other enough to stay in one band.
So Oasis is an English rock band. A lot of people call it Britpop. But they formed in Manchester in 1991. Signed to an independent label, Creation Records, in 1993, releasing their debut album, Definitely Maybe, in 94. And their most famous, What's the Story, Morning Glory, in 1995. Also, kind of had a little bit of a rival band that they had with Blur, if anybody remembers that.
Yeah, they sang song 2.
Yeah, they were actually
They sang
all
songs,
part of
yeah.
the whole second British invasion.
Yeah.
All right, so the reason that Oasis gets brought up is because this is a sibling rivalry with Liam and Noel Gallagher, kind of basically the staples of Oasis. Now,
They're British. They're British. They're angry anyway.
Well, one of them definitely. Liam Gallagher, currently 46 years old, kind of known for his eccentric dress style, distinctive singing style, and abrasive attitude. Currently one of the most recognizable figures in British music. Doesn't exactly have the songwriting experience that his brother Noel has, but Noel is currently 52 years old, Oasis's main songwriter, lead guitarist, and co-lead vocalist. Incredibly charismatic and funny, I swear to God, doing all this fucking research. Whenever I'd see interviews, it sounded like he was a fucking stand-up comedian. This guy's funny.
His brother didn't seem to think so.
No. Seems to be a little bit more down-to-earth just from the research that I've done, although he has admitted that he doesn't quite enjoy his fame. Happens to be a pretty good friend of comedian Russell Brand.
Russell Brand.
Yeah, I can see that.
Now that we know a little bit about the Gallagher brothers.
Oh my God, here's more notes.
Yes.
Oh my God, he actually wrote
7
things.
fucking pages of them hating each other.
I'm sure there's a lot more that's covered by that, but
see, the
7
thing
pages
is
is enough.
Yes. See, this is basically all the shit that I could find that was in the public eye. Now, God knows there's a whole lot more shit out there than what I came up with, but
There are so many pubs that are very angry at the Gallagher brothers for destroying the place.
Now I do have to give a little bit of credit to radiox.co.uk for all this information. Going into this, I had no knowledge about the details of their hatred for one another, or if you want to say hatred. They have admitted that they love one another, but
They just can't be
they
together.
fucking bicker a lot.
That's most families. You can love your family members and still dislike.
And not want to go hang out with them.
That's very true.
Kind of feel like they go a little bit above and beyond that, but
Yeah.
I mean, there's songs involved of them hating each other while they're still in the same band.
there's some things in here that I will get to shortly, but there are definitely some experiences that Noel has used to write songs about. But our
Why did Liam sleep with my wife? No, that
there's
didn't
some
happen.
really bad shit.
I don't think that happened, but bad enough.
I wouldn't put it past him, but
I know, right?
don't
There
think
was a
that
pause.
not that it's ever been public knowledge, to my knowledge anyway. And first, before I get into this, I didn't fucking know. Maybe you told me, but I didn't fucking know he's gonna have a fucking professional musician on here. So now I'm fucking scared shitless that some of my information is going to be wrong, and he's going to be like, "Argh."
No.
Oh, no.
Correct you
But-
nicely.
but-
It's fine.
I can tell he's very
I
nice.
mean, it's not like I know them personally, so.
But
But he is a fan of Oasis.
but do feel free to chime in. 'Cause
Absolutely.
there's a lot of fucking shit, and I can't just read fucking 7 pages. So
I can take pictures and put them on social media, so
first thing that kind of got brought up between them, kind of having a rivalry in the public eye anyway. This was September of '94. It says Liam starts hurling insults at the band, threw a tambourine at his brother Noel.
Not the tambourine.
Oh, that was Liam's instrument, was the tambourine. So Noel storms off the stage, goes missing for a few days, and with this experience, this is what brings on the song called "Talk Tonight." If anybody's familiar with that, I don't know. Maybe you are, Jordan.
Just, a little bit.
See, the thing of this is, the reason that this topic got brought up was maybe 2-3 months ago. I got on an Oasis kick, and I knew that the brothers, were not on good terms. We're spitballing ideas of things to talk about, topics we want to discuss. Mm-hmm. The only thing I knew about Oasis was that they didn't like each other, and the "What's the Story" Morning Glory album.
I think it's one of their more famous ones.
It is.
Or most famous.
Well, it's what Siri told me today. So
Credit to Siri.
I said, hey Siri, what's Oasis's most famous song? Well, that's Wonderwall. I kind of figured.
Or Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
That's
Should I ask mine to double check?
Well, this is according to Siri.
Yeah.
But
Is she ever wrong?
Yes.
well, yeah.
I don't know. I've heard some questions that are asked, and Siri doesn't know.
Siri doesn't
Sounds a lot
know.
like Scotty.
Yeah.
Siri doesn't know.
Scotty doesn't know.
Scotty doesn't know either.
Anyway, let me get going through here on some of this shit. November of '95. Oh, this was actually a very, very interesting video to watch. This was an interview by John Harris entitled "Sibling Rivalry." I don't. Maybe that's because of how bad they bicker. I don't know. Maybe it's a British thing. I'm not sure. But this is basically just 14 minutes of verbal mayhem by the brothers, just showing very different aspects of what they view rock stardom as. Now, this is Liam essentially. Yeah, I can get away with shit because I'm a rock star and all. Like, you need to concentrate on the music, you know. So. And I'm assuming that doing all this research, I kind of found that Noel kind of was kind of the cooler head, but obviously they're both wrong quite a bit. But anyway, there was more incidents that year in '95 between May and June. We call this the Cricket Bat Gate. I'm assuming Jordan, you know what this is.
Fire away. I do actually know what this is.
Okay, so while recording their most famous album, What's the Story? Morning Glory, in Wales, while Noel is in the studio working on the album.
Sorry. Not to be confused with Wales, which is what Donald Trump referred to
Lord.
the Prince of Wales in England as.
Oh, don't get me started. Man being able to speak or say words.
Let's stay off that topic.
Far away.
Regardless, Liam shows up with a group of people while Noel's trying to work, which, for those of you that don't know, Noel, I think I read it earlier, but Noel is kind of the head songwriter.
Yeah.
So he's the one doing a lot of the work, especially on the pre-recording end of things. But this kind of pissed him off, so he grabbed a cricket bat. Look it up if you don't know what it is. It's a flat bat.
Yep.
And Noel decided that he wanted to place that upon Liam's head. So
Doesn't sound good.
the bat was actually recovered by a writer and then sold later at auction.
Of course it was.
And that is the world of music.
Yeah.
Oh, this was used in a violent incident. Sell it.
This one I actually knew about. August 23rd of 1996. This is the MTV Unplugged no-show incident.
Yep.
Oh, dear God, that one.
This is actually where I kind of like, holy shit, I think I might like Noel singing better than Liam. But this was Oasis that was scheduled to perform a high-profile MTV Unplugged show.
While that show was still hot.
At the Royal Festival in London. Straight from doing other large gigs, Liam decides to pull out due to, quote-unquote, illness.
Laryngitis, specifically.
Noel announces that Liam ain't going to be here with us because he's got a sore throat, so you're stuck with the ugly four. Which, yeah, Liam probably was the nicer-looking one of them all. But
he didn't have the unibrow.
Yeah, they did. Going on to play a 12-song set proving that Noel really didn't need his brother. Liam showed up to the show above the audience, drank and smoked the entire time, yelling heckles at the band.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than when he broke Noel's guitar right in front of him. That was later on, but
Yeah,
still
we'll get to that
really
later.
bad.
It's okay.
August 27th, 1996, Liam decides that he does not want to go to America. Once again, last minute, Liam pulls out of the U.S. tour, leaving Noel to front the band.
You'd think he wouldn't have kids as many times as he pulls out.
It's actually kind of funny. That particular incident, as far as I know, there was a whole court incident about that, how, Noel was just said Liam just killed the band.
That is a different one. That one is a later one.
Oh.
This one, the Creation Records sent out a statement. Liam was called away at the last minute to sort out a personal matter. Turns out that Liam had sold his house, but had nowhere for his wife to live. Yeah. He joined the band 3 days later, but the tour was canceled just after 2 weeks. That will become a reoccurring thing quite a bit as we go along.
Yeah.
Jeez.
A lot of cancellations. As a matter of fact, I've never fucking heard as many cancellations as I have
they
done
fight
research for these guys.
Like the memes that show a boyfriend and girlfriend. Oh, I love you, honey. Oh, that's great. That's great. Except for that thing you did back in 1994.
Yeah.
I remember.
May 21st of 2000, the Barcelona incident.
Oh, my God.
A show in Spain was canceled after the drummer injured his arm. The rest of the band started drinking, and as the night went on, Liam questioned the legitimacy of Noel's daughter, Annis. Ouch.
That's sad.
Yeah, that's hitting way below the fucking belt with an anvil.
Are you sure?
Or a
Are you sure she does not have the unibrow?
Yes, because that's what set the child.
that unibrow.
Noel attacks Liam and leaving the band, and the band finishing the tour without him, and that was the European tour. October 1st of 2002, Heathen Chemistry Tour had several problems with Liam's voice. Shit keeps happening.
Sounded like he didn't want to do anything.
Spain, July in Spain, they postponed a show. In Florida, he left after only 4 songs. October 1st in Japan, lasted only 6 songs. The year ended in a brawl in a Munich bar where Liam kicked a German police officer.
No.
You do not kick the pole sign.
You can't kick police.
Trust me, you don't want to do that.
No.
During this incident, Liam got a few teeth knocked out. So, the remaining dates were canceled while Liam went to the dentist office. So,
Which is unheard of in British culture. I'm sorry.
Hey, not all of them have that.
We're
Come
getting
on.
better.
they are getting better.
Yeah.
Well, we lost our British viewer or listener if we had any.
No, nobody in England yet.
Okay. Well, definitely not now.
Okay, so
we
we
have a
take
couple in South America.
We might have picked up some Aussie listeners, though.
So we're going to skip a few years where they actually apparently didn't get into too many scuffles, at least in the
physically
public
hurt each
eye.
other.
At least in the public eye. June 12th, 2005. Liam had left the stage during Champagne Supernova. October of that year, Noel said of his brother, "I kind of learnt that instead of arguing stuff out and ending up in a fight, I work on him psychologically, and he's completely freaked out by me now. He's actually frightened to death of me."
I remember seeing this.
Is this back when MTV still had news?
Yeah, I remember.
Oh God, I remember this.
It wasn't
He was like,
Kurt
I can
Loder,
play
it
him
was, the other
like an
guy.
arcade game.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that would exactly be it. Wow, and we're going to skip another few years. April of 2009. Could this be the beginning of the end?
You could say that on any subject.
You could probably say this when I start. September 29th, 94. Interview with Q Magazine. Noel made his notorious comment about Liam. He's the angriest man you'll ever meet. He's like a man with a fork in a world of soup.
I don't remember that, but that's hilarious.
Oh no.
That summer was a lot of
forgot
bickering.
about that.
That summer there was a lot of bickering between them on social media.
So he pretty much proved him right.
Essentially, yes. Noel claiming that life would be easier without Oasis.
I don't think Oasis is the problem.
Yeah, I think it's his brother.
Well, now I'm going to pause for just a second, but during all this research that I was doing, there's a lot of videos on this website, and I watched every video that they had. Some with Liam, some with Noel, and it didn't appear to me, anyway, that they were leaning toward one side or the other. So it was, all these interviews were very, right down the middle, no prejudice toward either side.
Right.
But all the fucking research kind of indicates that Liam's kind of,
Angry. He is
he's
like
the angriest man you'll ever meet.
He is like your angry, drunken dwarf uncle. I'm serious. He is angry at the world for no other reason than the fact that he was born.
See,
and
some of the better things that I found are actually not listed on this paper. This was just in videos that I caught, and you bringing up, you say a fucking dwarfism?
Yeah.
Yeah, Liam makes fun of Noel for being little. So,
of course he would.
He also freaks him out by moving furniture all the time and making him afraid of ghosts. Because he knows he's afraid of ghosts, so he just moves stuff around to freak with him.
Hasn't he ever watched
I don't know how that
Ghostbusters?
got over
I ain't
there.
afraid of no ghost.
July 21st of 2009, it says Angry iTunes. A bad-tempered Liam, imagine that, appeared at a special free gig as part of the iTunes Festival at London's Roundhouse, to which he had a member of the audience throw a beer at Liam. He railed against, says, "You students with your pointy shoes. I hope you feel as uncomfortable as I do." He briefly left the stage, making it possible for Noel to turn it into playing the master plan. Noel also commented on microphone that someone's in a bad mood. So I think as we go on, you're going to see more of Noel's thing is kind of like just little cheap shots and nothing too major. But, and I can understand why whenever you question the legitimacy of your child.
Yeah.
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 I'm surprised they lasted as long as they did, to be honest. August 23rd of 2009, the V Festival. Oasis were due to play the, I'm saying this right, Chelmsford leg of the festival on Saturday, but canceled at the last minute as Liam had reportedly had laryngitis. Noel claims that his brother was just hungover, to which Liam led to legal action against his brother. Noel eventually apologized and the legal action was dropped.
I think the whole thing is, I don't think he suffers from laryngitis all the time. I think he suffers from athlete's foot. Because he keeps putting his foot in his mouth.
Putting his foot in his mouth.
I don't know. I think he just fits that old stereotypical rock star where it's like I play when I want to play, I do what I want to do. But that's not the day and age we live in now. But it's like that old angry, I smash things, I'm just going to party and just have fun.
Yes, and I think this goes I think it was maybe the second thing that was brought up where they had a 14-minute tirade against each other.
Yeah.
Where you can kind of tell that their perspectives on what rock stardom should be like is completely opposed from one another. But okay, so here's the big bad date, August 28th of 2009. This is the Oasis split. While the band was preparing to go on stage at the Rock en Seine, if I'm saying that properly, festival in Paris, an argument broke out with...
Rock en Seine.
There you go. I'm not cultured. With Liam,
either. I've just been there.
with Liam wielding Noel's guitar around, quote unquote, like an axe, was the last straw. Show canceled, and so the rest of the tour. So no more tour. Abruptly ended. Noel issued a statement. It is with some sadness and great relief to tell you.
Sadness
He says some sadness and great relief to tell you that I quit Oasis tonight. People will write and say what they like, but I simply could not go on working with Liam a day longer. Noel would later go on to claim that the argument started over an ad for Liam's clothing line, Pretty Green, in the festival's program. However, Noel later quoted, "I had enough of Liam and Bonehead," which Bonehead is one of the band members. It's just a nickname, obviously. "And this is true. Started arguing over a leather jacket. I am not even kidding. I can dress it up more than this, but this is what happened."
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. So
I also feel like you could put Noel's quote on any one of those years it happened, and it still feels like it just fit right then.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
I'm going to try to speed this up and get through as many of this shit as I can. November 19th of 2009, this is where BDI comes in. Liam announces that he will front a new band with the other remaining members of Oasis. February 16th of 2010, accepting a Brit Award, that is for the best British album of the past 30 years. The winner was What's the Story, Morning Glory. Liam thanked all members of Oasis except Noel. Then he decided to throw the award into the crowd.
Oh my god. That's great.
That's what.
I think Noel might be onto something with the angriest man in the world. Or angriest man you'll ever meet. Excuse me. And this one is quite possibly one of my favorites. July 6th of 2011, Noel Gallagher announced the release of his first self-titled album by his band, the High Flying Birds. Liam's response was a tweet saying, quote-unquote, all capitals, shitbag.
Simple and to the point.
Yep.
August 12th of 2012, this is the Olympics incident.
Oh, crap. I forgot about this.
At closing ceremony for the London Olympics, Liam appeared with his band BDI to sing Wonderwall. With Radio X, Noel claimed that the organizers had to get his agreement. Quote unquote, I did play it a bit of cat and mouse with them for a few days. I took it till Friday night at 10 o'clock before I said yes, and they were, what the fuck did I write? They were shitting it. They were shitting it. So, and to be perfectly honest, Oasis is nowhere near as big here as they are in the rest of the world. But it's amazing because they're still huge here.
Well, that's the same can be said about most 80s metal bands, too.
Yeah. Sure.
Japan, yo.
November 21st of 13. Speaking to Rolling Stone magazine, Noel said of a reunion of Oasis, "We are split up." You heard that, haven't you? You must have heard it. Yeah, so ergo bands split up. Band is no more. This is no band. So no, I won't be getting involved in any way. If there's a reunion, I won't be in it. The BDI split of October 25th of 2014.
I sense a pattern.
Sense a pattern. Mm-hmm. Liam tweets that his solo band, BDI, have called it a day. Immediately, Oasis reunion rumors start. Speculation of a gig in Glastonbury,
yeah.
There you go. Noel said to Radio X, "I'm available that weekend. It's not up to me, though, is it?" And Liam tweeted, "BDI are no longer. Thanks for all your support. LGX." Liam Gallagher. Following comments of Liam is recording a solo album with Lee Mavers of The Laws. There isn't any truth to this. Never say never. I'm going to skip this one. July 9th of 2016, the potato incident, if anybody remembers this. Liam issues a tweet of an image of Noel with a caption, capital potato. Just out of the fucking blue. I mean, this is, potato. Don't poke the bear. So anyway, skipping a few ahead, on Noel's 50th birthday, which is May 22nd, it's 2017, Liam, happy 50th. I don't understand. Now, maybe you guys can understand what this is. And this was multiple occasions that I ran into this. This is R Kid, RKID.
I don't know.
Is this a British thing? Or
Probably.
Stay young. Once again. Nah, I just got woke up, with all that stuff all that stuff that went on in Manchester. I just kind of woke up and thought, you know what? I'm going there, says Liam.
Oh, you know what? It's I have to think about this. It's an affectionate term for a younger sibling.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. It's like them saying, our kid, because, the older one takes care of the younger one.
Right. Which Liam is the younger one. Telling the older one.
Yeah. Well, hey.
It's Liam. I think we're kind of getting used to this. This is kind of a big one. June 5th of 2017. After the terror attacks in Manchester that left 22 people dead, Liam slates Noel for not attending the tribute concert at Old Trafford. Noel's camp responded by saying that he was out of the country and had donated proceeds from Don't Look Back in Anger to fund for the victims. Liam had 2 tweets responding to this. Manchester, I'd like to apologize for my brother's absence last night. Very disappointing. Stay beautiful, stay safe. Also, Noel's out of the fucking country. Weren't we all, love? Get on a fucking plane and play your tunes for the kids, you sad fuck.
Jesus.
Just do it.
To be perfectly honest, I don't really think that I have to go into any more detail about the rivalry between these guys.
I don't think so.
Because this is essentially just the same shit over and over and over.
Yeah, they keep doing the same thing over and over. They hate each other, their family. They hate each other, their family. They hate each other, their
Liam
family.
is angry.
However, in my research for all this, I have noticed that they both have shown love to one another. But it's usually with some kind of backhanded compliment at the end. And this goes for both of them. It's not just Liam. Although Liam does seem to be the one to kind of...
You're a pretty good singer.
The instigator seems...
You're a pretty good singer for an asshole.
That's nice. It's bad.
Me, I guess if I had a preference, I would probably go with Noel. And not just because of... He seems to be the one that's defending himself, so to speak, but...
Better be glad you're not his brother saying this right now.
Well, I'm not too worried about Liam. I'm not too worried about Liam coming here, but because being I use this term incredibly loosely, being a musician myself, I know that it's not songwriting is not easy. Being a musician is not, or it doesn't come easy to me. I'm not one to play by ear. I have to memorize every damn thing that I play. And so coming up with my own stuff, it's very difficult. So I probably would lean toward Noel, just because I guess I identify with him more so. So
I get it.
On top of that, all these interviews that I've seen that I didn't even mention tonight, this motherfucker is hilarious. I swear to God, audience, go and watch some of his interviews, especially if you're a fan.
Yep.
This man is fucking hilarious. I can't say it enough. He should maybe possibly look into stand-up once his singing days are over.
And therapy.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to fucking go to therapy. Although I would recommend therapy for the two of them, but...
And then we see therein lies the problem.
I'm not going, fuck you. No, fuck you.
Yeah.
Not back in.
And then there'll be another Twitter and another tweet.
Yeah.
So
Another day.
my apologies to our audience. I didn't think that was going to be as dry as it was. But
Well, you had to
You never
leave.
know. I may put some music
you
behind
know, yeah. And you know me. I don't do that dry shit. If it's dry, I spit on it and then get in. So,
Kat, do you wanna do your topic? Well, I say topic. It's the same topic, but
Well, it's
different focus.
My people's.
all right. I'm very curious as to your guys' points of
Excuse me.
interest.
Go ahead, Kat. And when you want me to do a soundbite, just let me know.
Well, I don't have any fun music. It's just more. Some of these words are in a different language, and I don't want to even try to.
Hell, German.
Oh
I
shit!
don't even want to fucking try to
Oh,
sing
shit.
out. So
The
I
hell,
would
German. There's German.
Okay, shut up, dude. Shut the hell up.
Thanks for the clue.
Ja, the Deutsch.
Thanks for the clue.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, well, if y'all remember when I introed Brad's little music and then his thing about Oasis, I mentioned Puma and Adidas. Now,
The hell's that got to do with sibling rivalry?
Oh my God, let me fucking tell you. Now, Matt, you found a bunch of, there's a bunch of like compilation things, little snippets, that these people fought over this specific thing, like 2 or 3 paragraphs, blah, blah, blah. And also just the Wikipedia on like what sibling rivalry is, which I don't have any siblings myself, but I can kind of guess based on things.
Yeah.
But one of them is the founders of Puma and Adidas. Now, obviously, we've all heard of those brands. Some of the people listening might not.
Yeah, I don't think everybody's gonna know Puma.
It might.
I do.
It might be a Puma.
Well,
I mean, there's quite a few people who wear them like here, but
Yeah. Well, anyways, Puma shoes.
Shoe brand, yeah.
I'm pretty sure they have like
athletic
clothes
wear.
and stuff, like shirts and
I
whatever.
did as a kid. I did.
Shoes and athletic wear, pretty much.
Yeah, but they're still, they're both pretty well known. Adidas, a little bit more. But did you guys know that the founders of Puma and Adidas, not only are they not American, they are German.
I figured.
You just kept saying German like 50,000 times. They are German and they are brothers.
Well,
No.
they're just naturally angry, or actually the language is naturally angry if you listen to it.
Okay, shush.
yeah, it's very gruff. I remember when we were living there for quite a while, like it's a very gruff language. It can sound actually very nice depending on who it comes out of, but it's
How they're
naturally
saying
gruff.
Oh, you spent time in Germany.
Yes, actually about 9 years in Germany.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a cultured boy.
So I also saw a lot of people wearing Adidas and Pumas.
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. So here's my thing.
Yeah.
A river runs through it, and yes, I know that's like a name of a freaking movie, but just hang with me. Okay. Brothers Rudolph and Adolf. Yes, I know Adolf.
Wow.
Dassler. Well, it was a popular name, I assume. Now, Rudolph was born in 1898.
Oh, yeah, that was before the name went bad.
Oh, Rudolph?
Rudolph.
Not Adolf.
I meant Adolf.
Adolf.
Well,
Well,
yeah, Adolf.
thankfully
Before the name Adolf went
And
bad.
before
Thankfully,
Rudolph
they
was
both have
reindeer.
nicknames. So I'm just gonna call them Addie and Rudy, which is what like they went by in their everyday lives, anyways. So Rudy was born in 1898. Addie was born in 1990.
1990.
You got that soundbite ready for me?
Yes.
1990?
No, 1900. Sorry.
Fuck.
No. 1900.
Time travel.
Okay, so this is the name of their town according to Google Translate into German.
Herzogenaurach.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that again.
Yeah.
Herzogenaurach.
It doesn't so
What
the
it
second
said.
time. What Google Translate lady said. So
It sounds like you're going to hawk a loogie on somebody.
it does on the end. Now the town itself, most people just called it Herzo because apparently
Because it's a hard German word
even
to
the
say.
people living there didn't want to say the whole name. So
I'm from there. I'm from there.
are you gonna do a German accent the whole time I'm doing the story?
No.
Okay, please don't. Okay.
Piques my interest.
Now, Addie, in about when he was like teenager, he was pretty into athletics, and he would watch people doing track and all sorts of other sports, and he noticed that none of them had really good shoes for what they were doing. Like their shoes weren't helping them achieve betterments in whatever sport it was, and he the wheels in his head were turning. But where is my note on this? In 1918, I wrote that down. Where'd it go? My writing disappeared. In 1918, he got drafted into the military, but he only stayed there about a year. So in 1919, he came back. Now, his mother ran a laundry out of her home. But that kind of, was going a little south. And this town, the Herzo, that they lived in 1920, the population was 3,500 people, or 3,500 people, I believe. 3,500 is more than 3,000.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
By 500.
Out of all those people, 112 of them were shoemakers. So it was a very popular occupation. So it'd be like...
Cobblers.
Yeah, they're cobblers.
Yeah.
So it wasn't necessarily everyone had their own, like, store. It'd be like one person would start a store and then, like, people would work for them making shoes. Lots and lots of shoes. So he started making shoes. He started making track shoes because, they just didn't have any track shoes. It was just whatever shoes you had was just what you wore while you did sports. There wasn't anything
I just
else.
think of the I don't know what you call them. The things you fucking dance in.
Ballet shoes. Wait, tap shoes?
Clogs.
Clogs, that's it.
I
Yeah.
was like,
Oh
they're
God, can you imagine dancing in that?
Yeah.
doing track and clogs.
Or just like hard shoes in general.
Clogs, those are Dutch though, aren't they? Wait,
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay. Let us know in the...
I know sneakers and dress shoes. And flip-flops.
And
That's about all
flip-flops.
my knowledge of shoes.
So Addy, he turned out to be pretty dang good at making shoes, and many of the athletes, I assume, in his town started noticing. They started wanting his shoes. They were like, hey, I think that's going to help me do XYZ in my sport.
I think it's going to help me run faster, Coach.
Run fast. I want to run fast. After a couple of years, he got, a little overwhelmed, I guess, and he asked his big brother, Rudolph, or Rudy, to help him.
Rudy! Sorry, wrong Rudy.
They did. Shush. They did pretty well. They actually had to hire 12 people to help them, and that's, for as many other people that were making shoes, that's not, it's not too bad. Now, this is the second soundbite. This is the name of their company.
Sportschuhfabrik Brüder Dassler.
I think it called me something.
So basically, that second word, the goob,
Gebruda?
Gebruda.
There's two words there.
There's three.
There's three, actually.
Three.
So Dassler, obviously, is their last name.
Sportschuhfabrik Gebruder Dassler.
Well, I could have just had you say it instead of...
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, fucker.
Anyways.
Thanks.
Next time we need German words said, I'll make you do it. Anyways.
9.
Shut up. Anyways, Gebruda is... Now, Gebruda is not the, casual word for brother. That's a different thing. It's more of a formal way of saying brother, if the information I read at least two other places is correct.
It's also not the name of that really shitty SNL parody of MacGyver either.
Why?
I don't know.
That has
I think I just had gotten that out of my head.
nothing to do with anything.
It's just funnier that way. That's
Okay,
all.
I don't want you to... Okay, can you not mention 10 obscure things that I don't care about during mine, please?
I can't make any promises, but I will try.
Please don't. You do that all the time.
You dick. Just let her talk.
So, anyways, Gebruda can mean not necessarily I think, from what I understand, not necessarily blood brothers. It is also more of a businessy type of thing. So they went with a more formal
Professional
word
brothers.
for their business. Professional brothers. Yeah. There's so many nicknames in this story. Geta, if I'm pronouncing that right, is just the casual way that everyone, talked about this company. Or if you were English and you didn't want to say all that, you just called it the Dassler Brothers.
Why not?
They made a pretty good team at first. Addy was more of the creative / brains part. He fashioned the first few shoes he made. He, just fashioned out of odds and ends because this was towards the end of the World War I. So there wasn't just boatloads of raw materials to work with. He kind of had to work with what he had. But he made sure everything he made was top-notch, high quality, wasn't going to just fall apart on you in 5 minutes after you've been out in the grass.
Fucking name brand shit.
Some good shit, high quality.
It ain't that store brand either.
One of the first shoes that they
Great
made
value.
together was a track shoe. I saw some pictures, and they looked wild. They more resembled a ballet shoe with nails, obviously not at the toe, but what was the term? The foresole? I was listening to to this podcast. It was my main thing, but they were describing like the shoe, and this was to give them grip in the dirt so they could really pull themselves forward as they started running, really give themselves like, be able to have traction because they never had traction before.
I thought
Kind of like spikes.
I was thinking cocaine.
Cocaine.
It's a hell of a drug.
So as time went on, they got more and more popular, and now I believe, from what I looked at, in the 1928 Olympics, there was, this might be wrong, but a German sprinter wore their shoes. So, they're out in the public. There's, thousands of people watching this. I saw one thing where it said there was a female runner and she won gold, but then in the podcast, they just named a German runner that won bronze. But either way, they won something more significant than like 8th place, and they got more in the spotlight. And I was like, hey, those are some nice shoes there. They're like doing their job.
They were only for the master race.
Wait. Okay. Shush. Okay. In 1933, Addie married a girl who was 16 years old. Yes, I know, 16 years old.
Yeah,
so you remember,
Yep.
he was born in 1900, not 1990, 1900. So 1933, he's 30. Well, he'd be 32, right? Yeah, 32.
Yeah. Turning 33.
Yeah, turning 33.
That was so far away from me.
I don't know if I spelled her name right, but the way it sounds to me is C-A-T-A, Kata, like Kata.
Probably.
So him and his wife, and Rudy and his wife, whose name I don't know, they all lived in the same townhouse because they all worked together. The brothers and their employees, they all made shoes in the same place. I'm assuming the same place the mother had the laundry, I think. There was no one ever mentioned that they moved to a different place. So, when you're living together and you're trying to have a relationship here and a relationship here and a business in this other room, manage employees, you can start to get on each other's nerves. Little things start to kind of pile up, get real annoyed real fast.
I'm sorry.
I still love you.
Live fucking dangerously, don't you?
Every night.
So,
Brave bastard.
but if
Have you heard any of this podcast?
So, I should have written this part down. When did World War II, when did that
39.
start? 39?
Yeah, 39 to 45.
What he said.
6 whole years.
39 to 45.
Yeah. 1939. 9.
Oh, I guess okay. Well, I guess before the war actually started, Hitler was already rising to power.
Yeah, he was.
He had to do a bunch of stuff before he pissed off people.
This was
when the war
post
started.
getting kicked out of art school.
Yeah, I believe he was working within a lot of the political parties
Yeah.
back when they were
Just starting out.
coming right out of World War One.
Yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of fascist parties back then.
This.
It was on the rise. It used to be more of a democratic one, surprisingly enough, after the whole empire.
Surprisingly. So, 1933, he gets married.
He was Chancellor of Germany in 33.
Chancellor. Ah, okay.
Yeah.
What he said.
History degree.
So you said it started at 39. This part doesn't make sense to me. I'm not sure.
It's okay. You can
The
skip.
timeline
You
is
can
start-
skip it if it's not.
Yeah, it's like I skipped half of mine.
No, I can't skip any of mine because it won't make any fucking sense. So, I guess it was later. Okay, it was later. The Allies came and bombed Herzog, the town they lived in, and this is a very pivotal moments where the brothers really started splitting apart. Rudy and his wife, they were already in a bomb shelter. And then Addie and his wife, they came in a little bit later. I don't know what they were doing, if they were trying to get something, but they came in later. And when they entered, Addie said, as they were coming in, I guess, or right as they got in, said, "Looks like the bastards are here again." And in another version, it's looks like the dirty bastards are here again. Take whichever one you want. So
Dirty bastard.
Addie swears that he was talking about the Allies, talking about the people bombing them. But Rudy probably already pissed off about something that happened at breakfast that morning or whatever. Yeah. Took it as
Daddy woke up.
That might do it.
I don't know if it was something at breakfast, but anyways, Rudy, for some reason, took him saying that as him meaning him and his wife. Like, he was calling them bastards or dirty bastards, and I don't know. He must have been really already angry at his brother. So,
That's so stupid.
So later, Rudy gets drafted for the military, for the Nazis.
Yeah.
And when you look up these people on Google or whatever, under political party, it does say Nazi party. Yeah. But they were never like gung-ho, like, yeah, let's, be evil and do all these bad Nazi things. They were just like, they lived right in this, right in Germany, in this little town. They didn't really have a choice, for when they were drafted. Like, the Nazi party was the military, and like, they had to do it. Yeah. They weren't like excited about it. So, Rudy suspects that Adi had something to do with it. And, he's very, very suspicious. So suspicious, in fact, he left his post multiple times to, go home and make sure he wasn't being, kicked out of the company. He was, paranoid almost. He also obviously got arrested for desertion because you can't just leave your post and then not get in trouble for it, especially if you do it multiple times for no good reason.
Yeah, I think it's called going AWOL.
Yeah. You can't just, leave just because you think your brother is doing something a little shady. It's you're being drafted right now. You're not supposed to go anywhere. So I'm going to go back a little bit I'm going to go back to 1936. I think this was the Olympics again. They had their shoes on a man named Jesse Owens, and he did pretty damn good. He was a sprinter, I think, and he was wearing their shoes. And everyone was like, holy shit, look at those shoes. Those are amazing shoes. And, of course, Jesse was kind of like, well, I'm also, a star athlete, but, yeah, these are cool shoes.
This very sad thing is he was one of the very few respected African Americans in that time period.
Yeah,
because it was a very racist time back then.
Very much, especially during that time in the German Olympics.
I think it would be interesting to talk about later.
There would be very few white people that would admit that he was black.
They're like, he just runs real fast. Yeah. Look at him go. Look at him go.
My favorite fact about him is that he is known for single-handedly crushing Hitler's myth of the Aryan supremacy.
Yeah. It says here, he literally tore up the track, took another lap, and I don't know how true this is. I didn't I wasn't trying to dive deep into Jesse Owens. I was trying to focus on the brothers. But it says he took another lap, and then he went up into the stands and slapped Hitler.
No, that's not true.
Okay.
He would have been shot. He would have been shot because that took place.
That was on Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, that.
I don't know if it is.
I don't know.
Those Olympics took place in the middle of Nazi Germany. So
yeah.
If that had happened, he would have been shot dead in his head.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was just funny as something
or he would have been taken and
just kept forever.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people say that the brothers, their brand, the Dosser brothers, or the German name for it, they would have gone global if World War II hadn't started. Obviously, it derailed sports apparel, and as America and many other countries did, they not only had their factories that were already making military, planes and bombs and all that, they went and found other production areas. So they took over the Dosser Brothers shoe factory, converted it into making Ponzo Shreks. I just wrote it how it sounded, but they were also called tank terrors. They were a lot like American bazookas in design, basically just I assume the bazookas are shoulder, you can put them on your shoulder and
take down a Panzer, baby.
Destroy something. So I think the Ponzo Shreks or tank terrors were pretty much like that, and they were made in a desperate attempt to take down the Allies. But by then, even though they did cause some havoc, it was too late. We were already beating them. They had not only
Already spanking that ass.
there was not only the people that had already worked for the Dossler brothers, but they also had French prisoners of war as forced labor to weld all these things together.
Yeah.
So,
Bunch of
and they
cheesy
just wanted to
surrender
make
monkeys.
shoes. They didn't want to make bombs.
I mean, let's be honest. There's a lot of companies that started out doing things that they didn't think they were going to end up doing.
So, sorry, listeners. I'm leaving this part in. Sorry, listeners. We are turning on the air conditioner because it's warm.
You're like sweating.
Yeah, I am.
You should really take your hat off.
It's fucking hot in here.
Okay, well, he told me to turn it off, and I.
Yeah, I know.
Surprised Cat's not suffering from humidities.
Okay.
I'm just.
I think that's the
impressed
first time I've heard that.
I'm just impressed
sorry.
that Sir Bradley said that without messing up. For a minute, I thought he was stuttering. Humidities.
So,
Oh, Lord.
going back to.
Yeah, I say fucked up shit.
Okay. This made more sense when I was writing it down. So I'm just going to go
And
through. So,
for those interested, we are at
Rudy.
an hour and 37.
I'm trying to.
I know.
Okay. So Rudy gets drafted. He thinks Audie has something to do with it. Left his post. Got arrested for desertion. Thinks Addie ratted him out for that, even though I'm pretty sure they noticed he was gone. When he finally got, and he was like he was arrested, so he was kept there for a while. When he finally got out of there, he got picked up by the Allies on suspicion of being a Gestapo agent. I don't know how to spell that, so I just spelled it how it sounded. And turns out
SS.
Turns out Addie did actually rat him out for that one. Although I don't think he actually was a Gestapo agent. Audie just didn't want him to come back home, so he was kept in a POW camp for some amount of time. And yes, in April of 1945, the 16-year-old, well, she's not 16 then, still the wife of Addie, basically saved the business because Allied tanks or American tanks pulled up to the factory, and they didn't immediately do anything. They were kind of talking amongst themselves, being like, okay, what should we do? Should we blow it up? Should we do this, that, blah blah blah? And this brave young girl, she walks out, probably after freaking out for a minute, I would imagine, being like,
probably. I wouldn't
being like,
doubt
oh
it.
my fucking god, there's tanks outside. She walks out. She walks right up to the men, and she convinced them that all they want to do is just make shoes, which I believe to be true. I don't think they wanted French prisoners and their seamstresses to help them make freaking poncho treks. I don't think that was something they really had on their to-do list. Like, make weapons for the military. I think they just wanted to make shoes. And the U.S. Air Force actually set up, I believe in Herzo, I didn't actually, that wasn't a specific detail, but I think it had to be pretty close because they noticed the shoes that they were making. So I guess they had converted back to making shoes. And they were like, hey, holy shit, those are some really nice shoes. I think I want some of those. And they were like, okay. So they started getting actually, and the Americans, they were pretty excited because they realized those were the shoes that Jesse Owens had worn. So they were like, oh my god, those are famous. So
they stole them off his feet.
They were, no, they just got their own. They actually started getting in pretty big orders for American sports teams. All this time, Rudy was still in the POW camp. So when he finally gets out, he's done, Addie's done, they split. They literally divide the company. This was 15 years after the bunker incident where Addie said, you bastards, you dirty bastards, and Rudy was like, I think you mean me and my wife, and he was like, nah dude, I meant the freaking bombers outside, but whatever.
All this over fucking runny eggs.
Yeah.
They went on to fund, but found their own companies. They literally, so this town literally has a river running right through the middle of it, right through the middle. I'm assuming that one brother stayed in the original building, but the other brother, instead of moving to a different town or whatever, he literally just went across the river, set up shop there. So,
No, fuck you.
I'm on this side of the river. Don't come over this river. So Addy first named his company Adidas, but Addas, I believe. But that turned out to actually already be a name of a children's shoe company. I'm not sure what Adidas means. Maybe it means child or young or something like that. But so he added the I for Adidas.
One letter difference.
One letter. Sometimes that makes a difference. Rudy tried to name his Ruda. No one liked it. They were like, dude, that's not a good name. Americans aren't going to, like, buy freaking a shoe brand named Ruda. Like, they're not going to do that, dude. So he was like, okay, fine. Somehow he came up with Puma. So now we
There's
have
probably a racist connotation in there
Probably.
somewhere. I mean, honestly, I'm not making a joke. I mean, honestly, probably.
I don't know. So now we have Adidas and Puma. Brothers.
Because Jesse Owens ran fast.
Oh, man.
I think I read a quote that they said he was a fast motherfucker. Probably.
Probably someone said that. Some dad up in the stands was like, "Oh, that's a fast motherfucker!
like,
Oh my fucking god!"
Did you see him? I don't know. I don't think I saw him.
Oh no, he's so fast. Those shoes, man. So both Adidas and Puma, they started doing pretty well right away. Probably because people already knew what to expect. They were like, okay, they're separated, but we already know they make good shoes. We already know that they have pretty high standards, They're not just going to make shit just to have a shoe company. So Adidas, obviously, let's see, where I lost my place when you did that.
Sorry.
So Rudy had the salesmanship. That was kind of his role when it was the Dossler brothers. He was, he was like, hey, buy our shoes, order our shoes, put our shoes in your house, blah, blah, blah. Put these shoes on your athlete's feet. And Adi, he was really, I guess, the designer, the technical, like, okay, what is going to make this shoe better for this soccer player? Like, what do they need? So, but obviously I'm sure by then Rudy knew, like, what made a good shoe. But Adi is the one that got more of his shoes on, like, professional athletes. Like, he really got his shoes out there in the world. So Adidas, he had the lead, or they had the lead in sales over Puma. They did neglect some areas as they were growing, such as like, what was it? Jogging. Although the podcast I listened to jokingly said yogging. My mic just moved oddly, sorry.
Oh. I didn't know what the hell that was.
Well, it moved and it made I don't know how to make it not do that.
It's a strange sounding fart.
It's just going to be here. Oh, okay.
There you go.
I was like, I can't turn the tightening thing anymore. So, and then what was it? The, not calisthenics, that's not, some other active exercise thing.
Cross training, cardio.
No. Something a little more like your aunt and your mom might do it, like aerobics.
Oh,
I think it was aerobics.
Oh, you should have said the thing that old men like to watch when they're feeling randy.
That is absolutely the thought that was most farthest from my mind. That thought was in outer space.
You watch any movie and it shows old men watching aerobics.
Pretty sure most of the movies I watch don't have that. Like 100% sure. Anyways,
I've seen a lot of those.
Okay, well,
Aerobics or movies with aerobics?
Okay. Anyways,
Sorry.
Anyways,
We're old dirty bastards.
Yes, you are. So I guess neither of them took those two kind of things very serious, so they didn't make shoes for those things. This is where Reebok comes in, surprisingly enough. Now, a lot of you might not know that Reebok actually led in sports, like athletic shoes, for quite a while. They were like, hey, you guys aren't doing jogging and aerobics. We're going to do that. We're going to make shoes geared towards this. And
as most people do when somebody has a good idea, 10,000 other people want a piece of the pie.
Yeah. Well, no, Adidas and
That's why
Puma
you steal all my
weren't
jokes.
Adidas and Puma were just
You're
flat out
welcome.
not making shoes for those things. They were too, at this point in time, they were still too involved in their own feud to catch on to the rise of Nike.
Nikkei,
Nikkei, no.
as how it was pronounced in Back to the Future 3.
Part 3.
Yeah.
Nikkei.
Nikkei.
So,
Was that some sort of engine dog?
One of them moccasins on your feet.
guys, shut the hell up. Well, you said
All of the
you're
Back to the
shit.
Future movies to quote.
I know, right?
Okay. Well, oh my god. So, if you were to like kind of rank them by sales, it'd be Nike, Adidas, and then Puma. So the townspeople were involved in the feud too. Not anything violent, like no one got hurt, but they were very much like they sided with Rudy or they sided with Addy, and they either worked for Adidas or they worked for Puma. There was no like, oh bye honey, I'm gonna go to my job at Puma. Okay, see you later. I'm gonna go work for Adidas. It was like no, like you married into an Adidas family, you married into a Puma family. You had Puma children, you had Adidas children. That's what they wore. That's where you worked. You lived on this side of the
Sounds like
river.
a political dynasty.
It was a shoe dynasty.
Does it not?
And there was a river right down the middle. Now that doesn't mean...
Sounds like those old like Hatfield and McCoy like stories. Just
But
like
with shoes. And so...
Yeah, the only difference is we're talking about shoes where the Hatfields and McCoys didn't wear shoes.
they had guns, so... Shoes and no guns.
yeah, one sounds a little bit less dangerous.
Yeah, definitely less dangerous. So even today, you can still spot kids like fully decked out in Puma or fully decked out in Adidas, and it's like ingrained in the DNA of these people to like look down and check out what shoes you're wearing. Like, are you an Adidas family? Are you a Puma family?
And the funny thing is, in movies and television shows, you get very, very big stereotypes of people who wear Adidas and Puma. And usually it's a whole outfit from hat, top, pants, and shoes. One complete outfit either worn by mobsters. I'm stereotypically mobsters, Indians, not from Asia, Indians, and Middle Easterns. It's funny.
Yeah.
If you're going to see Puma and Adidas in film and TV, you're going to see them on those three types of stereotypes.
When actually it's this, not small town, but this town in Germany, where everyone is either one or the other. Now, obviously more recently, it's not like, oh, I hate you because you like Puma. It's like, oh, you're wearing Puma, playful punch on the shoulder. Let's go get a beer. It's like more.
I prefer New Balance and Skechers. But
It's
that's
well, it's more of
the
a
rest
friendly
of it.
thing. But you gotta imagine like growing up or being an adult, like having all this going on and like. Like being smack dab in the middle of it and knowing about it, and like it's pretty crazy. The mayor, whose name I did not get, I should have got his name.
That's okay.
But the mayor
German guy.
of wait, hold on. Okay, no. The mayor, he is from a Puma family, but obviously he's the mayor. He can't just wear Puma all the time and be like, screw you, Adidas family. So at casual events, he'll wear Adidas, he'll wear Puma. And
one on each foot.
And shh, dude. Okay, wait. Actually, in 2009, the mayor wore one Adidas shoe and one Puma shoe. Wait, were you joking or did you know?
I knew.
Oh, damn it! Then why'd you say it?
I'm shitting.
I
had no idea.
It seemed very awkward to
I
walk
really
in.
had no idea.
Dude, how would I not mention that? I'm talking about
Sound
Adidas
like-
and Puma.
Sound like
So-
Noel Gallagher.
The official sponsored teams, soccer teams for Puma and Adidas had like a friendly match, and that's where the mayor, he wore one of one brand and one of the other.
They should join and be Paditas.
Petitas. Oh my
Petitas.
God. Imagine that.
I mean, all I could think of is like, man, that is a whole nother way of walking in another man's shoes.
Yeah.
It is. I didn't
Adidas or
actually.
Aduma.
I didn't actually write it down, but obviously we're gonna link every website that we like got information from. But from this podcast that I listened to 3 times,
Show notes website.
yes, obviously, they actually said that later, I guess after he was seen rubbing his Adidas foot, like it wasn't as comfortable as the Puma shoe he was wearing, or maybe it's because he was wearing 2 different shoes. I don't know. But it was just funny that they saw that. The last descendants, the grandson of Rudolf Dassler, to work for either company. He worked at Puma for quite a while, But then get this, he started working for the legal department for Adidas. So he worked for both.
How can I screw that company over legally?
Now the article I got that information from was written in 2008, and it said he retired in January. So I guess it was January of that year.
I don't know.
Because that's what makes sense to me. So he's retired, but it said there's like a quote unquote for him that he's still going to be like involved. I guess kind of advising him. And I think he has his own like legal firm that's like not Adidas. It's just him. But it's just funny he worked for both.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny even to this day. I forgot there's like a name for people looking down. Like you walk into a pub and whoever notices you looks at your shoes. Like not your face, not your hair, not your outfit. They look at your shoes. They're like, "What are you wearing on your feet?"
Pedo-estrogens.
No.
It's like, but I have a face.
Look at my face. I cleaned it today. Not my shoes. What if you walked in wearing Skechers or something? Like, oh, that must be a tourist. Like, they're a tourist.
Sketchy about them Skechers.
I don't think I like those Gucci slides they're wearing. And,
yeah.
Now neither company is owned by anybody in the family.
Oh yeah, they went public, so they're
Yeah.
shareholders.
Yeah.
If I am remembering this right, I should have written this part down, but I was really trying to focus more on the brothers, like the rival. But I believe, I might have got this split, but I believe that Adidas is owned just by a conglomerate, just like a bunch of people involved. And then I believe Puma is owned by Gucci. I believe. I might have that switched.
Really?
I'll fact check myself and post it somewhere if I'm totally wrong.
Swag.
But no. So it's just, so it started just two brothers in their mom's old laundry business, making shoes, and it's grown into the family not really having anything to do with it, and two of the biggest brands of like sportswear, like ever.
And biggest contributors to flea markets.
And they were also Nazis, but they weren't good Nazis. They,
They're not a good Nazi.
No, like they didn't.
No, there's not one. No.
I'm not saying good.
I know. It's just
They didn't want to be Nazis. That's just like if they didn't, they'd probably get arrested for their life.
Less
Or like
evil.
their whole life.
so.
So
I was going to do a couple of siblings, but I'm going to just go ahead and, for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and just go into the psychological aspects of that. Why are they like this? Why do, these two blood-related people, or not blood-related people that live together, why do they butt heads so much?
siblings. It could include step siblings too.
Yeah, for those that aren't really sure exactly what we've been talking about all night, a sibling rivalry is a type of competition or animosity between siblings. If you haven't got that so far, good God.
Alan's calling.
Hi, Ellen. The sibling bond is normally it's complicated and influenced by factors as parental treatment, birth order, personality, experiences inside and outside the home, pretty much. And they're especially worse with those that are so close in age.
Yes.
Yeah. What causes that? Well, Kyla Boyce from the University of Michigan, she's a PhD psychotherapist, and she says each child in a family competes to define who they are as an individual and wants to show that it is separate from all the other siblings. So they feel that they're getting, a lot of times, unequal amounts of their parents' attention, discipline, and responsiveness. Now, the big thing about these is that a lot of times these build up and create a lot of tension and hostilities as we've gotten through the stories tonight. So, I mean, it doesn't just start at it starts at it, as a child, and usually just kind of builds and builds and builds as they go on.
Sure, a couple of you have experience with that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Oh, most definitely.
I mean, there's even some research that indicates that changes in the weather can increase the likelihood of children exhibiting deviant behavior with each other. So it's almost like they're, any little change can cause it.
Good Lord.
I mean, can you imagine being cooped up in the winter? And
Right?
Can you?
Yes.
There are some things that parents can try to do, but the thing is, sibling rivalry a lot of times is inevitable. It's going to happen at some point, whether it stays permanent or not. A lot of things can go into helping alleviate that. Refusing to compare or typecast the children.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing. Like
yeah.
comparing them, that is not very good.
Do fun activities with the family. Make sure each child has enough of their own space and time. Encourage teamwork. I know this sounds kind of new agey and hippie, but I do believe there's some merit to some of this. And this is an important one: a concerted effort by the parents to reduce competitiveness. However, it is, like I said, it is impossible to eliminate the sibling rivalry. It's not just found. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so you mean don't play Monopoly?
Yes. It is found not just with humans, but it's found in animals too, religions, literature, film, and television. I have a list of examples here. The Andrews Sisters, which was a 50s singing group, really famous. They sang the Bugle Boy song that's really big in World War II. Liam and Noel Gallagher, Madonna and her brother Christopher, the Boleyn Sisters, John and Jim Harbaugh, which are coaches, King Richard the Lionhearted Prince John.
We got fucking screwed out of that Super Bowl, man.
Most recently, Prince William and Prince Henry of Windsor.
It's more of a friendlier one than all those others.
Yeah, more friendly.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be, wanting to kill each other.
It's not like some of the royal ones where they're actually poisoning each other, like literally trying to kill each other.
Venus and Serena Williams.
That one's more just when they're having to play opposite each other.
Houdini and his brother Hardeen, he was a budding magician as well.
Yeah, that was that was a more friendly one. The Harry, he actually, in his will, passed on all his props and things to his brother, and his brother named his son Harry after him. I remember that.
Cain and Abel, if you're going to get biblical.
If you don't know that story, even if you're not religious, what you doing?
Now the subject that I was going to do.
What decade were they from?
The first one. High five. The first one. First decade.
The topic of the ones,
nice, by the way.
Yeah, the focus that I was going to do was Cleopatra and her brother Ptolemy the 13th. Ptolemy, that's it. Ptolemy the 13th.
Which I'm disappointed you're not going to get to do that because I love Egyptian history.
Pretty much Cleopatra, to ascend to power, she pretty much wiped out her entire sibling clan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Married him, killed him.
Peyton and Eli Manning. Alec and Stephen Baldwin. Well,
forgot Cooper.
Oh. Oops.
Cooper Manning.
Yeah. Stephen Baldwin has become a born-again Christian and believes in everything that is anti-Alec Baldwin, which Alec Baldwin is a Scientologist. So you've got both of those. I mean, even in movies, in The Godfather, Fredo and Michael Corleone, Catherine Mertule and Sebastian Valmont from Cruel Intentions, Mufasa and Scar.
I almost did a thing on them, but then
Brennan and Derek Huff from Step Brothers.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
What about Jesus and Craig?
Jesus and Craig?
Jesus and Craig Christ?
Oh, yeah. Jesus.
Stephen Lynch?
Yeah. Jeez, I forgot about that. Gomez and Pastor Adams.
Yeah. It's that good, huh?
This will blow your minds. Ron Burgundy and Wes Mantooth.
Mantooth.
No.
Did you know that they were actually half-brothers? There is a deleted scene in Anchorman that reveals that they're half-brothers, and that's why they have such a big rivalry.
You got a lot of fucking time on your hands.
From A League of Their Own, Dottie Hinson and Kit Keller.
Oh, that was a good one.
George and Jeb Bush. Mickey Ward and Dickie Eklund. That was a boxing pair. Mm-hmm. So great. Kevin and Buzz McAllister from the Home Alone movies. Now, like I said, this doesn't always happen in children. It also happens in adults. Just bear in mind that you and your siblings both had completely different relationships with your parents and how you were brought up. So that's what leads to a lot of those.
I experienced none of this because I'm an only child.
Yeah. It's said that adulthood turns the rivalry into... I didn't do it.
Pour me another one.
It turns rivalry into envy, which is pretty much, makes sense if you think about it. one of them is they're both jealous of each other in some way. And even if one stops becoming jealous, the other one's still going to hold that animosity. That's just usually how it goes. Now, the research I found, this says if all else fails, no matter what you do to try to, rebuild that bridge and all that, it says just limit the time with the sibling and simply let their comments float by if you must. The best way to end a fight is often to refuse to engage in the first place, which pretty much means, look, you may change, but they're going to hold on to shit. Just deal with it.
Oh, I've seen that in some people.
Yeah.
Just holding on to that
I
shit.
have no comment.
No comment. I mean, anybody who does a little bit of research on sibling rivalries, you'll read a bunch of really cool and really interesting stuff. I know Jordan can probably attest to growing up, there's always going to be some tension because you and your brothers are all so close in ages.
Oh, I'm the oldest. There is no rivalry.
Fucking savage.
It's on!
I'm sure they can attest otherwise.
Oh, it has been a long episode.
Yeah.
Longer than my penis.
Dude.
I'll refrain from a comment.
No.
I was going to fire back, but
No.
I'll
Please
keep
take
that one in the
out.
chamber. Does anybody have any final thoughts on sibling rivalries? Sir Bradley?
Get the fuck over it, Liam. Damn.
Cat?
Thankful I didn't deal with it.
What about you, Mr. Schmidt?
I mean, I think most of the time it grows out as long as you, when you get older, but then again, the Gallagher brothers
All
exist.
cases.
Oh, yeah,
That seems to get worse.
yeah. It's... And the sad thing is you can find it on both ends of the spectrum. I mean, you could have two brothers that are in a family of, say, 6 or 7. You'll have two brothers that get along really well, and then there's just some dynamic that just doesn't work. And, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the middle child or anything like that. It's just sometimes they just don't mesh. It's oil and,
Oil and water.
Oil and water, yeah.
Just doesn't mix. You can
That's
shake
right.
it up, but then it'll separate.
Well, I believe we have beaten a dead horse with this. We've gilded as much of the lily as we possibly can. So we're going to bring this episode to a close.
It's not all we beat.
No, that's later.
Okay,
If you would like to reach around,
Thank you.
you're welcome. You can email us at deadpanbsf@gmail.com, deadpanstudio18@gmail.com, as well as the website deadpan-studio.com. Check out the website. I worked really hard on it. It's really cool.
There's a Twitter and Facebook,
There's
too.
also Twitter and Facebook.
Please interact with them.
Yes, they're both.
I think you should still release your whatever you wrote for Cleopatra.
I
and
may
her
do
brother,
that.
'cause-
I may do that on the Facebook. So at Deadpan Studio 18 for Facebook and Twitter, they're both the same address. Again, if you would like to listen to us or tell your friends where to stream us, there's always an option. We've got iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, as well as our main server, deadpanstudio.podbean.com. Jordan, how can we reach you and find your work one more time?
Okay, well, if you're going to reach me on my photography, it's either through Instagram at the name Jortography, JORTOGRAPHY. It's also at my website at www.jortography.com. If you want to catch my music, go to SoundCloud at the same name still, at soundcloud.com/Jortography. And you can also find me on Bandcamp. And I'm also putting up some work on Reverb Nation, so if you're a fan of that, go ahead and get there. There's some live videos that are going up there for you, so go ahead and check it out.
Awesome.
You gotta brand yourself, man.
Oh, yeah.
Can't have a
Love
1,000
that
different
PS4
names.
you just turned on.
And I would like to give a special shout out to the Stuff You Should Know podcast.
Great podcast.
Their episode
Great
on
podcast.
Yeah, their episode on Adidas and Puma, the Dossler brothers, really fucking saved my life. Thank you. It was funny because I first saw it on YouTube. It was just their name and then the sound and then the audio, and then I was like trying to find the episode. I was like, couldn't find it, and then I typed it in like exactly how it was on YouTube, and I found it, and I was able to go back and forth, and And yeah, and it was interesting. Obviously, everyone knows Cleopatra, did stuff to her siblings. You know, everyone has an idea of, bands having feuds and stuff, but I had no idea that Puma and Adidas had anything to do with each other, let alone that their founders were related and, all this stuff, or that they were German brands originally, basically. So
I didn't either, but that makes so much more interactions in Germany make more sense.
Yeah, all the Adidas. Did they have giant stores for just Adidas and Puma?
There's just so many people dressed in that. I mean, there's normal other dress wear, but so much Adidas.
You
and
would
so
think
much
there
Puma.
would be a town called Adidas or Puma in Germany, but there's not.
Oh, man.
And with that, thank you, everybody, for listening to us. As always, please continue to tell others about us. If you like what you hear, if you don't like what you hear, please get a hold of us.
Do you have suggestions for future podcasts or ideas how we could structure things a little smoother, then just please let us know.
Absolutely. Let us know. Tell us good or bad. We'll
Yeah.
take it.
And if you're going to, get our attention, do it nicely.
Yeah.
If you're going to grab us, do it nicely.
Yeah.
You can use Google for spell check. That's what I do.
And with that, thank you, Jordan, for joining us. I'd love to have you on again, but thank you so much. I hope you had a good time.
Thank you,
I
Jordan.
did. Thank you very much.
And with that, all of us for here at BSF, I'm one of your hosts, Matt.
Sir Bradley.
I'm Kat.
And you are Jordan?
I'm Jordan.
Sure is Jordan. I think they know that.
I hope so. All right, well, we'll see y'all later. Y'all take care.
Bye.
Bye.